Hi Scorpio, welcome to your June 2017 love reading. It's Raina here. Now before I begin, I just wanted to make a few announcements, or a couple actually. One of them is that if you are a single person, by all means watch this video. You can still gain something from it, I believe, because I try to do the readings not just like, okay, now this is going to happen, that happened. I don't play that, you know, but I really try to always make it philosophical regardless. And I just feel like you could possibly gain something from it. But if you want, I will be making separate singles tarot readings. And I decided to do this because I have gotten a couple of comments in, you know, at least two in recent weeks, of people that seem disappointed that these readings tend to be more geared towards couples. And I thought about it, and I didn't know exactly why I was resisting doing it. It just seemed kind of like excessive. But then the more I think about it, the easier it would be for me, because then I don't have to keep remembering to mention singles. And I'll see how this goes. If there's enough of a demand for people who are single to be viewing these videos. If there's not, then I'll just stick to the one in the following months. But I'm also going to be exploring doing on-demand videos for love that deal with spiritual issues. And so they will be kind of extensions of this type of reading. And I think they're going to be at least 20 to 30 minutes long. And they're going to be $1.11. So it's like 111 US dollars. So very inexpensive and maybe a different perspective and that sort of thing. Just going to try that out. Not this month, because I'm not going to be making all these videos, and just seeing how things go. I always like experiment. I'm open to experimentation, but I don't necessarily stick with the thing if I don't feel like it's going to be really overall a beneficial thing. So we'll see. But for now, this is for anyone who is looking for a love reading. And it doesn't have to be if you're in a marriage or some sort of relationship. You may be pining away for somebody that you are not with anymore. And so you're still connected to them in some way. Now this month I am doing a modified Celtic cross spread, and I will talk about the different positions once I, you know, start interpreting things. Somebody also mentioned, it's kind of funny, like, because I'm kind of cutting the cards and shuffling off camera, and that's just because it's kind of awkward for me to do it like right here. I guess I could. I mean, I suppose I could, but you know, I just, for whatever reason, I did it like this. And then when somebody, you know, kind of gently suggested it in a roundabout way, I didn't feel like doing it, because I didn't want to have to prove that I'm not just picking the cards that I want to pick. I don't think, if you've watched any of my videos, I don't think that anyone would believe that I'm doing that, because like right now I'm shuffling. But it's easier for me to do it. I have to go like this. I just don't, I don't feel the need to do that. I'm a person of high integrity, and I just do my thing, and whatever feels right to me, I have to keep doing. Yeah, I probably didn't need to go into all that, but I just noticed as I was, sometimes then I just like create little piles, and then I pick them from different piles. So as I said, I'll tell you the position for each one after I've whenever I do these long types of readings, I always like trying to get them all in frame. So now I'm going to start collecting cards so that make room. Okay. So let me... Okay, and I'll tell you what each position means as I do it. Now, I'm going to take out the 2 cards here because they're kind of like the heart of the reading. The matter at hand, or the focus, the situation at hand, is the Queen of Wands. This is a woman who, you see, she's holding a sunflower, and anytime that you see wands, it's connected to the fire element in astrology. So whether this person is you, a female boss, anybody who is, it could be a mother, but it's somebody with a fiery temperament overall. Even if they're a Taurus, they would have, maybe they have Aries rising, but they're very extroverted, cheerful. If they are in a position of authority, they can be very helpful to others in a very positive way, very encouraging, but they can have diva-like qualities. Now you are, speaking of diva-like qualities, Scorpio is a water sign. Now some of you may have Leo rising or something like that. I think that the Queen of Wands is actually associated with Sagittarius, which makes no sense because she's holding a sunflower, which would be more like Leo, which is the ruler of, the sun is the ruler of Leo. So who knows? It's definitely fiery energy, confident energy, being a career woman. Let me just keep going and we'll see what this is all about. What crosses you is the Wheel of Fortune. Now this is a card of everything going your way, having a stroke of luck. It's crossing you. So that would indicate like somebody who is in between jobs maybe. Or when I say in jobs, I mean for a woman, I'm speaking specifically if you are a woman and you consider yourself a career woman and you feel thwarted in that sense. Now this is a love reading. So we're also looking at it from the perspective of a confident person who feels like that good fortune is being blocked. The Wheel of Fortune, life is a wheel, you know, just like astrology, we have a wheel. There are cycles in life, and sometimes we feel on top of the world, and sometimes we feel like that guy that's falling off of the wheel. Now, in terms of love, a card like that could indicate, because it is connected to Jupiter, so again with a Sagittarian influence, there could be somebody who's a Sagittarius, and we do get a lot of other fire elements here, the Knight of Wands and the Three of Wands. You may have, you know what I was thinking too, you may have had a love relationship that brought that side out of you, because Scorpio, whether you're watching, I would assume most of you are watching because you have Sun in Scorpio, not Scorpio rising, which is more appropriate for the astrology, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Scorpio is a very intense sign. So but you're passionate, you know, in a very personal way. So you can be attracted to fire energy types like Sagittarius, which is right next to you, or especially you have seem to have a weakness for Leo. And you can be attracted to and the other fire sign is Aries, okay? And what can happen is that they bring out that positive side of you, and you may have had somebody who did that, but perhaps you know that something is going on, because and it doesn't take much for Scorpio's minds to go into possible deception, you know. We have the Moon card as the actual cause of this situation, okay? So it's really the heart of the situation. And the Moon card indicates deception, indicates things that are not what they seem. And in June, there's going to be a full moon in Sagittarius, okay? We just had a full moon in your sign. All right, I'm saying we just had. I'm pretending that it's not, that it's past May 10th, when it's actually May 9th when I'm recording this. But so that moon, the moon brings things to light, you know, secrets to light. And so the card itself connects to Pisces. I would even extend it to Cancer because of the connotation with being, you know, Cancer is ruled by the moon. But Pisces is connected to this card because of deception and half-truths, which is a form of deception. So you might suspect or know, you know, being an intuitive water sign, that something is not quite as it seems. And it's funny because I didn't even think about this. For the recent past, I got the Knight of Wands, which is connected to Sagittarius for sure. And I connect this to Aries. So for what that's worth. And this is a young man. Now, young is relative, and I think this could be like a young adult. I would say up to the age of 40. But if he's older than that, then he just is immature, you know. A man who is a player, okay? And that would be the kind of thing, I could see that, especially if this was literally a Sagittarian male, that this could be somebody who you really clicked with, but you don't trust for some reason. You don't think that they are being honest with you. And one of the things I want to say, Scorpio, this can apply to any relationship. I'm being very specific about signs and all that stuff, but if you just take it in a universal way, you can still get a message from it, because Scorpios tend to have trust issues. And it's very important, I feel, if that's true for you as a Scorpio, that instead of feeding it with more suspicion, which leads you to control the person more. Controlling meaning spying on them, trying to, you know, look at their phone or whatever people do in 2017 to try to figure out if somebody's cheating on them. That you begin to really immerse yourself in the law of attraction. And what I mean by that is that you learn about your personal power. And how when you focus on what you don't want, you get more of it. When you become very suspicious, life will tend to show up for you that way. The universe will say, okay, I guess this person wants somebody who cheats on them because they keep thinking about cheating. It's a yes-based universe, so you get always the affirmative, even if it's something that you don't want. So, and you know, I'm not being some kind of religious cult member talking about the law of attraction. You know, take it very casually. Don't get too hung up on it. But I do believe that there is a grain of truth in it. I do feel that when we gravitate more towards our own power and stop trying to bask in other people's energy, that we end up in a better place. Because regardless if you have a person who is 100% faithful to you, that's not the end-all be-all of your life. You still have to live your life. You still have your own dreams to make come true, and you can't just use that relationship as a basis for your self-identity. And so becoming a relationship addict is never a good idea, regardless of how faithful somebody else is. So in this case, you may have attracted a man, for whatever reason, who is more interested in a roll in the hay, as they say it, than a committed relationship. And there may be qualities of this person that you find very exciting. The person may make you feel like the Queen of Wands, make you feel very optimistic about life. And an Aries man could do that as well. I am using gender only because with the court cards, I tend to go along with whatever they represent, because usually they are supposed to represent people. And since most people who are watching this are women, I figure I can't go wrong. But of course, you know, I guess I'll find that out, won't I? And somebody writes to me. So anyway, the thing that I get, like in my private readings a lot, is that kind of misunderstanding of the person's intentions. And this can come about a lot of times when I look at somebody's chart. They have a lot of afflicted energy with Neptune, where they're kind of deluding themselves into thinking that they have this grand romance when it's really just a physical relationship. So it's very important for, especially for a water sign like Scorpio, to separate your feelings from the cold hard facts, what you want from the reality. And I put that in air quotes because reality is relative, you know, so talking about reality. But we still have to use words, don't we, in our society? So that's why I even say it. And looking at the spiritual message for this, we see the Three of Wands. This is about wanting to expand one's career and looking, I think in general, I mean, that's one of the more mundane aspects, but in general, expansive consciousness. This goes along too with Sagittarius to me. So it could be reiterating this person, but I think that another thing that it's saying is that you may have been involved with somebody who is just not on the same wavelength as you. If this is someone, and I am going with this theme of Sagittarius, who is like that, like a fire sign like Sagittarius or Aries or Leos tend to be kind of more, it's a fixed sign like you, so maybe they're not as much of that wanderlust as I would associate with Sagittarius and Aries. So if you're with somebody who you feel you can't pin down for some reason, and they, you know, they just show up. The Knight of Wands is the kind of guy who comes in and he goes out, and it's like he turns everything upside down. And you know, you can never like really nail him down because he's always here, there, and everywhere. And what that card would be saying is that is his nature. And you have to accept a person's nature. You can't change a person's basic nature. If they are just freewheeling, footloose and fancy free, and you are very homebody-esque, then you have to be what you are. You can't, you know, that is one of the most fruitless tasks, is to try to change somebody's basic nature. So you end up wasting time when you could be finding somebody who really is on the same page with you. Here's the problem. A lot of times I will see people, when I look at their charts, and they have a mixed bag, as I call it, mixed energy. Some of it is very domestic, some of it is like that Knight of Wands themselves. So even just a rising sign, if you have a fire rising sign, you may give off the vibe that you're a fire sign. Other people are attracted to you thinking that you're like that, and then they get Susie Homemaker, and they're like, what did I just get into? That was false advertising. I thought she was going to travel the world with me, and she just wants to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, you know? And it's like a totally different philosophy of life. But because we are complex individuals, we sometimes have parts of ourselves that are very, that are very contradictory, right? And some people don't. Some people are very consistent, but some people are very all over the map. And so, and they may not even know what they want half the time. So that's another thing, is that you have to get very clear on what you're looking for in a partner. And that will make it more likely that you will attract such a person. For the near future, see, I'm having trouble with these cards. we have the Empress. This is associated with Taurus. But in terms of maybe something that comes in, this could be love. But this could be also a very sensual type of an experience. And as, you know, this is your opposite sign, Taurus. So Taurus, I associate with just very, you know, attitudes towards sex that are very refreshingly, I was going to say old-fashioned. No, that's not what I mean. I don't mean old-fashioned, but very natural. Not like anything, just like straightforward and natural. So Scorpio being the opposite sign, you guys are a little bit more intense about your relationships, including physical relationships. So for you, you're very unlikely, like if you were with somebody like this, you're not the type of person to be casual about love or sex, because to you, they are one and the same. And I know there might be some of you who don't feel that way, but I'm just generalizing. And so because of this, I would say that this card is, you know, saying that you may find that combination where you find the person who you really vibe with physically, but also can have that. You know, this card is connected to Venus, so that can be that in the near future you will get what you want. You know, it depends on you though too. And so the next card is a card representing your psychological state or your state of consciousness at the moment. The Queen of Swords, for a Scorpio person, may mean that you're deliberately cutting off your emotions and trying to just be logical. And normally this would be good, but because you are a water sign, make sure you don't go too much in the opposite direction, where it's kind of like this reaction to maybe some situation that felt hurtful. And so to try to protect yourself, you adopt this steely exterior where you just want to be immune from any kind of emotional triggers or anything like that. And it's okay. You should, it can be very good actually, the Queen of Swords, because it can speak of you being alone and being very rational, and that's good because you're not allowing your emotions to get the best of you. Just don't take it too far so that you become out of touch with your emotions or you suppress them because you're dealing with something like a particular person relationship. Outer influences that may be affecting the situation. We have the Knight of Cups. Now the Knight of Cups could be this person who comes in also. This would be, if it's an astrological sign, it would be in the water element. So this would be, I think, I don't know if it's connected to a particular sign, but it would be a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. I think of Pisces with this card. I know the Page of Cups is Pisces. I don't know about this card because it can be an artistic person. And of all the water signs, I see Pisces. Someone who is like the quintessential poster child of a sensitive male who comes into your life and sweeps you off your feet, okay? And you being the Empress, you are like this. You know, they're right next to each other. So they're a couple. And this is the kind of person that you need. You know, actually a fire sign individual or somebody with a lot of fire, they can be insensitive. And even though Scorpios like to talk a good game and they can be kind of harsh themselves, you guys can be kind of harsh yourselves, you are very sensitive. And you need that kind of person in your life more than you know. Someone who is going to read your emotions like they read the weather. And that is actually a fellow water sign. The only thing is, you don't want to get two people that are too emo. But you know, Scorpios tend to not be that way. You tend to kind of keep your feelings, you know, more internalize your feelings more than share them sometimes. So that person might be able to bring that out in you. So that would be good. The advice is the Two of Wands. Now, if there are actually two people, you may have to decide whether or not you want to still associate with that person if you've met somebody new. But this can also be about you moving to a new physical location. And that would be obviously not all of you, but some of you may have decided that where you live right now isn't conducive for you meeting people. Maybe you live too far out to be able to get to meet people on a regular basis. Or maybe you're in an environment that is totally counter to the kind of people. Let's say you're a person in your 20s and you are living someplace where there are a lot of senior citizens. That's an example. Where it's just incompatible for meeting the kind of people that you're looking for. So for some of you, you may be choosing between two things that relate to your relationship or a potential relationship. And for other people, it just may mean that you're looking for this, you know, Prince Charming, and you don't think you can find it where you are. And so you're kind of contemplating that. I do think that for some of you, you are with somebody, because we have as the outcome the Seven of Swords. And this is a card of kind of going your own way and doing so in a discreet manner. So if for some people, if you find that a partner keeps contacting you and you don't want to be contacted, you don't want to be tempted by this person, you may just somehow elude them and just gradually get away from contact with them so that you don't have to deal with them anymore, but that you don't kind of get them hooked into this thing of, oh, you rejected them, because that can be a game too, where people just act offended. So you can be able to do that and to, you know, start a new life without having to announce it and, you know, to someone, if you're trying to just break off an unhealthy relationship. And you may just decide that for now you want to go it alone, because, as I said, this is a card for the future. So it may not be that you're falling in love this minute, but it could be that you're going to have a Knight of Cups to your Empress. So that would be very romantic and great. And I hope you enjoyed this, Scorpio. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a wonderful June. Bye.